Okay, welcome to the Marlington Local School District Board of Education work session on Tuesday, March 12th, 2024, in the DLZ. Let's have a call to order, please. Roll call.
Josh Hagan,
Here.
Karen Humphreys,
Here.
Kathy Krepko,
Here.
Jonathan Swift,
Here.
Mark Ryan, not present.
Not yet. Okay. Adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the following agenda for today's meeting?
So
That
moved.
is wrong.
Second.
Is that wrong?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you're right.
What's wrong?
It's what's in front of you, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Unless there's something you want to add, the work session is designed for talk about summer projects. So unless you want to change anything within that, then you would have to. That's why you adopt it. Stick to what it is.
So we're good? Okay. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Krepko,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphreys,
Yes.
Mr. Swift.
Yes.
Work session discussion.
Okay. So I appreciate you guys. We'll spend some time here tonight. So I have placed in front of you a couple of different items. So you have one paper that has basically from Bob and I, it says capital improvement and improvement funds. I think it's underneath your agenda there. Should be a piece of paper prior to the packet. Okay. So I give you an idea where we're at. So in the capital improvement fund or the 070 account, it has basically where we're at from a cash standpoint currently, what PO's out there, what's remaining. Okay, and then underneath that we have our permanent improvement fund from a cash standpoint, what's PO, what's remaining. And then there's a total. You see at the far left side, you'll see a total. It says 070 and the permanent improvements, the 003 account. So it has cash, availability of cash. So between the two accounts is how we look at it. You know, cash technically is $3.5 million is a rough average. PO'd out right now is about 500,000. Remaining is about 3 million. Now that's a little offsetting because right now we have not put in there the encumbered amount for the roof. So take $1 million out of that. So realistically, what we would have for remaining cash is roughly probably $2 million that's where we're at. That's, you know, so you can take a look.
The
Overall, between the two, the capital improvement and PI accounts.
No. You're talking, when you say take $1 million out for the roofs, is that for what's coming up this
Yes,
summer
this
that we had already
summer,
planned
this current
for?
summer that you guys
Okay.
already approved.
Okay.
All right. So and I kind of show you this because before we get into looking at the available options for you, even though you could spend probably $2 million, again, the same recommendation next year, I say I would not. To be safe, I would say you want to carry anywhere between $500,000 to $800,000 as a safety. I don't want to call it a safety net, but I just think you never know what you're going to happen when it comes to, you know, things that could come up within the thing. Now, give or take that, you could, and that's up to you. That's just my recommendation as superintendent. So I kind of go into this thought process of sharing these projects with you. Josh is going to be able to chime in or go through this with me because him and I basically spent about an hour yesterday, an hour and a half, kind of going through these projects. Neither one of us came to any, didn't talk about what would be a good recommendation or not, because I feel that's, it's got to be a discussion amongst the board. But I would say about 1.3 million would be for me is I'm safely okay making a recommendation. And if you guys say no, we could probably go more. So as you go through these, if there's things that are like, yes, I think that's important to this district, we should move forward with it this summer, that's fine. If this is something that we feel that we need to push out a little bit later, that's okay too. And I'll give you my opinion too. So if you ask as I go through this, I'll tell you what my opinion is. It doesn't mean that my opinion's right. So moving on to that, each of you should have a book in front of you.
Can we note that Mr. Ryan
I did.
Thank you.
All right. So inside this book, it starts off, I'm hoping it's in the exact same order as mine. Well, I share. It should start off with Vasco, which is paving.
It's a good start.
All right.
Woo-hoo.
So if you open up that inside of that paving project, you're going to see it says Marlington Asphalt Inspection. Okay, just for your reference, these are things that we've done or if that currently could happen. This is kind of like a preventative maintenance plan when it comes to, this is not anything I'm looking for approval at a board meeting. It's kind of a suggestion from the company when it comes to maintaining what we've done and currently, so we're not spending a lot of money down the road. All right, so it's a kind of generally it's just a, you did the middle school, like if you look at number 2, Marlington Middle School, it was completely paved in 23. And then they kind of give a recommendations, probably by 2025, you want to spend roughly maybe $16,000 to reseal it. Okay, which, those are things that we're going to discuss as we move forward as it wears and tears, but they're kind of saying if you kind of stay with these protocols, you're going to save money in the long run when it comes down to be able to kind of get those. So that's kind of, because I know pavings is a large chunk of money we spend, so that's where we're at.
Like that, thank you.
Dan,
Yeah.
that says 2 coats in 24 or 25. Okay.
Yeah.
They're just doing it once.
They
not
said
both
really
years.
25, but they just said some people are a little bit more, as Kim said, they just said they'll jump on it right away. They just feel like they coat it all the time. I can tell you, right now it's currently holding up extremely well. We have not, I've walked that lot in the last 7-8 months, and it should, but they did a nice job. At least
So,
middle school.
so would that be something recurring that we'd want to do every few years then?
So that's what they said. So like here, it'd be 20, if you did that in 25, then they would kind of flow that out. But they said if you would wait probably anywhere between, and this will flow into this conversation about some of the lots. So let me get to that, then we'll come back to that, okay?
Okay.
So on that next page, you're going to see asphalt projects. Now this is going to be all the pages behind it, but this is all this in a nutshell to make it a little quicker and easy for you to see. So at the end of the day, based on based on paving projects within the district, we still probably have close to $945,000 worth of paving projects that we want to get done. I'm right now. Now, when I say I'm probably would not recommend doing $945,000 of the paving projects, but these are things within the next few years. The next few years, we want to take a good look at these in phases. You're right, I don't want to eat all the money, that's correct. So,
Is there a priority on these, or are we?
so as
getting
we
to
go
that?
through these, if there's something you say that's a higher priority for you, please let me know and I'll jot it down, but it's really a board decision. If there's something, I'll give you a recommendation. If you like that recommendation, that's great, I'll give you my reason. But that's kind of where we're at.
But in terms of the estimates and the professionals that are doing that, are they looking at any priority and saying,
So
hey,
if
you
you're looking
really
at
need
this
to get this
main,
stuff done?
if you're looking at this main page, you want to highlight some things on this main page that I figure that I would make a recommendation for, and I have not done the math on it, so
Okay.
you would do that. If somebody wants to follow me on this. The soccer parking lot would be one, okay? And that price will be lower than what that states, and we get there, I'll explain why. All right, soccer parking lot would be one. I believe when they talk about elementary school lots, there would be one at Marlboro I would like to take a look at, and one at Washington I would like to take a look at. That would be ones that I would, if I had to make a recommendation. The middle school grass area converted to asphalt would, unless we had extra money, would not be one that I would say is a priority right at the present time.
What grass area?
You'll see, it's all,
Okay,
I got pictures.
okay.
And the, possibly the playgrounds. I want you to, and we're talking about paving, we're not talking about equipment here, you're talking about paving here, okay, we've got to understand. And then realistically, I think we do need to take a chance here based on what you choose, looking at one of the areas of the high school. When we talk about area A, B, and C, you'll see the pictures, okay? I think you need to maybe look at one of the areas, but it just all depends on this whole book, where we're at financially and where your opinion is. So if you go to the next couple pages,
So you read those off in what you think?
no particular order, just read them off
You
when I
just
looked.
read them all, okay.
Right.
So that's not a list of priorities?
No.
Okay.
So if you look at the next page, you'll look at it'll say Marlboro Playground. So you're looking at, 16,000 some square feet. They want 71,000 for that playground. If you turn it over, there should be a photo on the back side that is Marlboro where the playground is in the middle. Some of that I think has to deal with some drainage. Because if you've been to the playground when it rains, there's an area there that just kind of sits and swells with water. Josh mentions there is drainage tile back there that runs to that field, correct?
Yes, what happened was a few years back, we put, has it been a few years? We put the sump pump in there
Correct.
because they were getting water backing up into the basement because the drain for the basement is tied in with the roof drainage into that field tile. And it's not completely obstructed, but when we get really heavy rain, it can't take it, so it starts back. And that was something that was newer, so it wasn't scoped, so that's why I brought up we might want to have someone cut into the floor past the trap and run a camera through there before we tackle that project in case that break is underneath the paved area, so we're not paving over a problem and then having to dig into that later. I mean, right now they've got the sump pump that pumps out above the pavement,
Correct.
and that's not ideal either.
So, and the reason that was brought up is it does get, if you go there when it rains, that's just kind of like a sunken area in there. And we don't know if it's more of a drainage issue or if it's a paving issue. So the assumption with Vasco is that, there needs to be some type of drain there that then shoots out. and
Yeah, that
distributes out.
part of that could be settling due to the water being
Correct.
dumped out there from,
So part of that price is probably doing the drainage work. So it's, I'm getting an answer on that based on that conversation.
yeah, it looks like
So-
they were planning on running a catch basin and a new
Yes.
drain out there.
That's what I
but-
I called out today because I had another question about the pricing on the soccer. So that was one of the conversations. So there would be a catch basin there to catch all that water flowing in, and then it would be gone from there, which isn't a bad plan either. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
there. So again, that's one particular project for the playground. You go to the next page, I want to, this is Lexington Playground. It's about 54,000. There's not pictures for everything, but it kind of gives you an idea. If you haven't been to Lexington Playground, there is some paving needs. I mean, these things certain portions were paved, they're just cracked and upheaval through ground, whatever. So again, it's okay. It's not a danger for the kids right now, but it's getting to the point where we need to have those discussions. And it's one of those things I've talked to the community about that they feel is important for these elementaries is to continue to look at playgrounds. The following page, you turn it over, it says Lexington Elementary's front employee parking lot. So if you understand, we paved all of Lexington last year. We put 2 catch basins in to get the water. Things have been really good, but if you pull into Lexington, you still have that front lot, okay?
To the right?
To the right.
Yes.
Kids are not on that lot, but the staff uses that lot for the bulk of parking. They use it for, gatherings for different functions that happen at the thing.
Are they still routing preschool drop-off when parents, is that? still
Yes,
using
they just
that
circle
parking lot?
around and through that
Okay.
end. Is it something we need to address at some point in time? Sure. Do I consider it a top priority right now? Not necessarily. I'm not getting a lot of complaints, but I want to get quotes kind of for everything, if that makes sense. The next page is your soccer, I think, lot.
Why are we paving
We
the
ha-
soccer lot?
Well, soccer lot gets used a lot. For the
Lot.
Hort buses, soccer games, or from male and female, JV softball. It's a middle school overflow lot. It's full when it comes to middle school events. It's
And it's a mess.
very similar to the potholes
At
at
Marlboro.
Lexington,
And Marlboro, yeah.
obviously, and it's muddy.
It's a mess right now.
I was just asking.
So Josh asked the question. So you see there, you see 2 numbers. You see base top heavy, $114,000, base asphalt only $69,000. So I reached out and kind of questioned what are you talking about there? Because there's a significant price difference, and I've been under the theory you want to do it right the first time, don't do it partial and then have to pay more money down the road. Talking with Vasco, they said, so the $69,000 base asphalt only option is a 3-inch asphalt base. If you go to the $114,000 option, you're going to a 5-inch with that top coat, a 5-inch base, a little bit bigger stones. So I really asked their recommendation when it comes to, they've done, they do so many schools, roads, various issues. I said, we're on a tight budget, but I don't want to do something that's going to just be potholed within a year. And they said, no. They said, in all honesty, they said what a lot of school districts do that are really trying to pinch pennies or do right with their dollars is they'll go to the base asphalt only option. That's 3 inches, so it'll be brand new parking lot, paved, line, just like everything else. But then within a couple years, they're going to put a top coat on top of it. Okay, it's like we'll be able to strip it down and put a top coat. Very similar to the middle school, they were able to strip it and then put a nice heavy top coat on top.
That wouldn't be this price, the
No.
114, it would be just an additional.
It would be an
$4,000.
additional, a smaller price tag. He goes, so they'll wait maybe 3 years and then they'll do a top coat.
But if they do it that way, they're gonna pay more overall, aren't they?
I didn't ask what it would be on that end, so I would say.
Because you would think then they would have to repair some or do something to that base coat and too, plus the additional top coat.
Typically, they say for that, it just depends on the height. They're very careful. So it's like on a road, if they keep top coating, at some point, they got to strip it down
Yeah.
to get it at a decent height for water runoff, drainage, different issues and so forth down the line. So, that's what he said. He said it's not unusual for school districts or areas to go to the 3-inch to start. He goes, his only concern would be is if you have a major amount of buses on it, like buses dropping off for soccer games and cars on it, no problem. He goes, now if you have the consistent buses on it every single day, whipping around, your wear and tear is going to be a little quicker, specifically where that happens. So.
And that's not really the case right now. We get the occasional.
The buses go through every day for
Saturday.
dropping off kids for Hort
Hort.
and so forth, and they cut through and things like that. They can come up around, which is fine, but the bulk of it is just your general day-to-day.
The drop-off and pickup
track
goes
off.
through there too,
It's
don't
drop
they?
off, yeah, they drop, but those are cars. It's a little bit, cars are fine. He said, he wasn't, it's when you're getting the buses or, a big, something a little heavier, an 18-wheeler or something where that shouldn't be on there.
So, based on that, their 3-inch would be satisfactory.
I would say when it comes down to, when we add up things that we want to do, I think that's a discussion point, because it can get done and still be good for our district for at least 3, maybe more years. I kind of look at recommendations. That's just their recommendation.
That would save
You know.
$44,000.
Correct. So it might be something else where somebody says, hey, that's the difference between where we're at. I'm not, so.
But with the 5-inch base, then what's the next step with maintenance on that? How many
It'd
years
be-
do we wait on that?
You're still going to be on a ceiling, like a chip and seal, or not a chip and seal, but like a ceiling. If
Seal it
any
in.
cracks or anything that goes over, they'll write, that'll be a recommendation. You don't have to.
Okay.
It'd be the
mean-
same for either option, wouldn't it?
Correct. Yeah,
So-
he said that.
Could you find out, what additional costs it would be to add the 2-inch later on top of that?
Oh, yeah.
Just so we can
Yep.
figure,
And they said, what, 3 years is what?
That was their recommendation. And he's only speaking from what other paving jobs they've done, where, they don't have maybe that additional money up front. That's where it is. So like Josh asked me, it was a good question, what's the difference between these two, prices? And I didn't know, so I had to call, and they said, well, one's a 3-inch, one's a 5-inch, both of which will hold fine, except the 5-inch is going to last you longer. So
So,
the additional, yeah.
so it's gonna go up a few $1,000s more each year.
well, that and the additional cost if they have to restrip it to put the 2 inches on there.
Right.
Yeah, it's not gonna be the same price as if you did
So
it all at
44 we
once.
save, we're gonna pay.
And I could be 100% wrong, but I interpreted,
That's a good point, Mark.
would be if they top coated 3 years later, there wouldn't be any stripping. It would be a top coat directly over that because that base coat is there.
Okay.
Where there is no base coat currently right now. So it's kind of like the middle school. They didn't strip down to the dirt. They just stripped off 2 inches, or some sections a little more, got down to that, your old base coat, and then obviously has the machine threads in it, and then they put another 3 inches on top. So to me, I didn't look at it as they would be stripping down off that 3 inches to get the additional 5. It would be, this is good for at least 3 years or more, depending on wear and tear or whatever. And then from there, if they came in at a later date and you had additional $50,000, $60,000, you wanted to get that on, and they would come out. That's the way I interpreted that.
Yeah.
It wasn't the other way. So,
And it's optional too. If it holds up really well for 3 or 4 years, you might.
you can
Or
wait.
2 years.
No, I mean, you look at our high school parking lot. When was that done?
Years ago.
No. When was it actually paved?
Oh.
20?
It was before 20.
20 years ago?
Well, not 20 years ago.
It
No.
was. I mean, I've been here 19
been a
years.
while.
It's
It's been
been
a while.
paved since
I don't
I've been
remember
here.
it being paved.
You don't remember when that had happened, so you were saying it was
Right.
it was here.
So I mean, I look at it as we haven't. I can't think of too many times where we've gone in and added
Layers.
layers.
Yeah, it's been sealed, but it hasn't done.
It might have been sealed.
It's been
and
sealed enough.
sprayed nice, so it
Okay.
looks new, like, kind of like, protected like we did, and tarred and that stuff. But I don't think we've, I mean, as far as I know, it's been paved since I've been here. It was like new when I got,
When did they put in the islands? Because I thought it was redone when they put those islands in there.
So,
Yeah, those islands are new.
I don't
Yeah.
Remember, Ben?
I was on the board then.
was right around 2004.
a year before I got here,
Oh, just a couple years ago then.
so 19 years ago.
I just remember because they ground through the security camera line.
Oh, boy.
That'll make you remember, huh?
So that's why I said it's been about 19 years. I mean, that's where it's a.
I don't remember that. I was on the board then.
So, anyways, that is a recommendation for me to take a good look if you guys want to at that lot. I think it's good. It'll look good for the community. I think it's due. It's a muddy mess.
Okay.
You turn the page from there. You can see in the back side there's the picture of what that area would be on that app when they look at that. The next one is Marlboro side lot. So
Pretty bad.
this is one that I would, I kind of talked to the community about this. This is one I kind of feel somewhat committed to. It might be the worst of all the lots.
It's pretty bad.
It's just right outside the kitchen right there. It's not a big area, but it's bad. And it does get used for the softball field that's on the, I would say, the right side of the building when they have that. And it's just, I don't want to tell you, it's like dirt. You're just driving in dirt. So this would be one that I would put on a recommendation. It's up to you. Again, it's not we can live without it. We can live without all of this, but it's not what's in the long-term best interest of the district, in my opinion. So this would be one that I would feel is kind of one that I would recommend.
It looks like they're doing 5 inches there. Would that one need 5 inches?
Probably. The reason why they're doing less at the soccer lot is because we've been able to use whatever we're using to like fill it every year, the potholes. I'm not going to use the right word, begins with an S or something, or the base that's underneath there is pretty good on the soccer lot, where this is pretty much dirt. So there's going to be a little bit more work on that end.
Okay.
The next is the Marlboro front loop. And there's a cost there. Again, it's one of those things that I think needs done, but I don't know if it's a priority for this year, but might be for next year, if we're getting there, kind of a three-phase type thing. But, but it's there. I want to give you an idea what that cost is as a general thing, but I'm not against looking into that. Washington, the next one is a back lot of Washington, and there's a picture on the back side. So we actually, if you remember last year, we sealed Washington's lot all the way around, redid the parking spaces. That's all good. That's holding up great. But behind it is where the dumpsters are. There's a whole other parking area behind it that's just kind of like a chip and seal type thing, the stones and that. At some point in time, it needs to be done. Do I consider that a high priority right now? No. but I wanted to give you an idea what that is. The next one's Washington side lot. This one I would make a recommendation for, if you guys were good.
This is gravel, isn't it?
It's just gravel. It's where all the staff parks, it's where the community parks for gatherings, it's right outside the pavilion that the community uses, it's gonna be out there where the baseball field is, it's where the soccer field is. Anytime the kids have practices at night, they're getting in that gravel lot. If it rains, it just has spots that you're just parking in mud and you're in this, so this would be one I would consider that I thought might be a good for Washington, if you looked at, you know, from that aspect. And you can get an idea of that little small section there when you're in there. The following page is you'll see in the upper right-hand corner, talking about the high school. It has Area A, Area B, Area C, and then it has the square footage. You're talking like 90,000 square feet for Area A, 75,000 square feet for B, and 110,000 square feet for C. Okay, so that's basically this entire high school lot broken in 3 different sections. So if you turn to the next page, behind that is what we would consider Area A. So that would be basically the wrapping around the entire high school, everything around the high school, which I would say would be the worst of the high school parking lot right now in general.
Yeah.
All right. B would be then where the students kind of park. That's your closest parking to the sidewalks, coming into where the Victory Bell side is. And then C would be then the back side of the lot, basically from about a row back behind where the buses park, all the way up to and through where the bus garage is. I don't know if any of these will fit into our budget as an overall at the end of the day. So as I said earlier, if we could fit in at least a section of the high school into our budget, that probably would be good. I don't know if you have an opinion on what section that would be, but I'm just saying that would be a thought if it would work into basically the overall big picture of what you want to do. Now, mind you, we're just still talking about paving. So keep that in mind. Just something to think about. The next page is speed bumps. We were going to move forward with those. It's a small price. It was $5,000 for speed bumps. Those speed bumps were coming like back where the tennis courts are, up by the softball fields, up where basically everybody just motors down through there like it's
We like
anything. So
I don't like that, Dan.
it was a small price, and I think you guys might have already, or it was just a general because it's $5,000 part of our general maintenance approval. It's going to be a recommendation. I think it needs to happen. We just didn't want to do it before winter because we wanted to run this by you, but the kids fly through there.
Yeah.
Or not even the kids, everybody flies through there.
Everybody.
I don't.
So,
I don't.
We would not.
It's the peer pressure.
I go very slow.
okay, Kathy, you asked about grassy areas covered to asphalt. So this is
Yeah.
the next one. So you see there, basically we ask our principals, hey, is there something that maybe needs to be paved? So Mr. Rizzoletti had some areas where our kids go outside quite often at the middle school. They're using more and more outside, specifically between where they go in, where the buses drop them off, in the 6th grade wing, the 7th grade wing, and the 8th grade wing. So we kind of brought them out. He showed us kind of the idea of where he kind of wanted some asphalt where it's grass right now for some areas for the kids. So we got a quote for him. So is it a priority right now on my agenda? No, but it is a request that is utilized by our kids.
Can't the kids just use the grass?
Correct, but it's a little easier. It's cleaner.
Not messy.
It's not muddy and
But to answer your question,
Why are they
Mr.
taking
Swift,
the
yes.
kids outside when it's raining?
smoke break.
That's not when it's raining.
It's like after it rains or something.
It's a
I
good
know
question.
about that.
I just know we ask the principals when they're utilizing the outside space they have, is there something we could do to make it better for them? This was the recommendation. I said I would bring it up and get a quote.
For $50,000.
And I said it's not a priority right now for me to get.
Isn't this like a knoll right
That was just at the middle school?
Yes, sir.
Isn't this like a knoll, like a grassy knoll, like?
Yes, and then you
area
turn to
where
the last
kids can
page.
go and read books under a tree?
Correct.
If it's not muddy or wet or
paved over.
All right. Moving on to stay within our time frame.
Come on.
The next page is lighting projects. As I have mentioned, I do think our district's dark. This is the beginning of lighting projects that I would feel from an overall district. This does not cover our entire district. So, as you can see, you'll see on the front page again is a total cost. So, high school wall packs, and I'll show you what those are in pictures coming up. Basically, they're just packs up there. They go right on an outside existing wall, and they're very bright. 2 of them would cost a total of $550. My recommendation would be 4 if I did it, because these, when I get into to be located, it would be 2 on the mall and center and 2 on the brick wall, like where the auditorium is. So you're like in between the football field, soccer field, baseball. It's fine in the fall because typically our football lights are on, but when you shut those off and you're through the winter and you're running through wrestling, youth basketball games, it's pretty dark in between there. So those wall packs are a good option.
Are those solar?
I don't think so.
Would you ask?
If they were solar?
You're going to see in there the middle school and soccer lots. So if the soccer lot has no lights, middle school in general is dark. So these are for poles, actual physical light poles with a light.
And the
Right, so-
soccer lot, is that the same one that we were talking about paving?
Correct.
Okay.
And so there'll be pictures and what that'll light up. I'll show you when we turn. But at the end of the day, this would be for 12 poles with lights for a total cost of $70,000. And then Lexington's back lot would also be poles.
If we could do something, another area, I'm trying to find this here, on the middle school one. A place that doesn't have a lot of lighting is like right in front of the office.
Correct.
Okay, so is that what we're talking about, lighting that area?
So if you look at the next page, there should be a picture of the middle school itself.
Yeah, okay.
So you see all what it'll be lit up now. Like,
He's too far forward. You gotta go back. Oh, is that it?
right there you go.
There you
There's
go.
all the middle school that'll be lit up now. Now, those aren't all poles, it's just how much light will,
Okay, where's the front of the building here?
for the front of the building's here.
It's here.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a soccer lot.
There's a light
Yeah,
right
okay.
there
This
for it.
area
All be
right
lit.
here
Yes.
is pitch black.
Correct.
At night.
Correct. So that was
Okay.
one of the topics. So I firmly am in a big favor of lighting as a cost whole. If it was something that you guys are in favor
That's
for,
security.
I only got quotes to get an idea. I would get additional quotes beyond. So Polly was, able to give us a quote. I think then we would look at other options too. We're going to get multiple quotes to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck from a lighting standpoint, just to be fair. But I didn't want to get multiple quotes and then bail. I just wanted to get an idea of what it was. So I wanted to make sure that if the board says, I think go ahead and get multiple quotes. If the cost stays around this price, then I think we should move forward with it.
When they did the high school and they put those little grassy areas and the curbs around them, those got wired for lights way back when. I know because I tripped over one of the poles that was sticking out of the ground. Whatever happened to those? Are those
Oh, I have no
poles
idea.
still, is the wiring still run to there? Is it?
I don't know. You're talking about the high school.
Yeah.
I'll find out.
Okay, thank you.
Has it changed at Washington? Has the lighting changed at Washington?
No, I did not get into the elementaries at this point. It was going to I just wanted to target more the main campus to start.
Washington's real well lit.
And,
It's not bad, and there's
But-
really nobody there that late in
No,
the
it's-
time most of the
it's well
time.
lit.
I added Lexington because the lot is so big and it's dark.
It's dark.
So, why that was on.
It's back
Washington
there,
does have lighting
and
in
it's
the back
back behind the building.
of the building.
It's just, there's all sorts
Oh.
of trouble, mischief can happen there with no lights.
So if the board says, hey, you know what, go ahead and Dan, move forward with taking a look at lighting, then I would like to get a couple more quotes before I give you the recommendation, so you have a good idea. And I think, it's only fair bid, so something to think about from a lighting aspect, but then you'll see the pictures and the quotes. So I just didn't,
Okay.
typically when you ask people for quotes, they're hoping that you're on tar, you're kind of I just try to be fair. So that's where we're at. The next one is the Mullins Center roof. So you'll see up there, short-term fix and long-term fix. Short-term fix, about $3,500. Long-term fix, about $20,000. So if you turn the pages in there, they'll give you probably the patch, the different quotes in there, but then there's actual pictures of what we're talking about. I asked them to get up there on the Mullins Center roof and explain, we got leaks. At the end of the day, it's leaking. So if you get in there, Josh, are those pictures in there, I hope?
No, I'm not in.
They're not in there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So at the end of the day, here's an idea, just I'll hold this up. You can't see it, but there's grommets. So if you're in a metal roof, you got the grommet that goes in,
Yeah.
and has the, as Josh said, the little, like there's a washer behind it. Put it down too tight, it'll dry out and so forth down the line. These are just basically shot. They're rusted, they're through. You can tell that somebody went up there and caulked the, at one point in time. They're just completely brown and shot through. So we do have a section of the Mullins Center roof that is when it rains, we're getting water dripping down onto the floor. So when we sent them up there to take a look, they said, yeah, we can fix this on this specific area for, what'd they say, about $3,500, where we can make sure we do everything at one time so you don't, for $20,000. Again, it's still a debate on where you want to, Josh's question was, which wasn't bad, he asked, is there a warranty? Like if they're saying, hey, they're going to come in and do this, is there a warranty based on that, correct? That's what we
Yeah.
talked about. So I did call them, and they said it's a 1-year warranty for them to come in and do that.
Whoa.
This is what they said. So if you want me to look at other options, that's fine. I just got to be careful. We're dealing with it right now, but I want to give you an idea to see how close they were with that, because obviously what they're doing is going up there and I don't know, I'm assuming, I don't know what it's.
Now that warranty, that's probably the labor for the installer. Now, what we might want to find out, or you might want to ask them what the warranty is on the manufacture of the roofing material.
We haven't got that answer. I tried. I'm
Okay.
working on that because that was so far, that's the original build.
Yeah.
So I'm still working on, as fast as I could based on yesterday to where we're at today, which was a good question. I just
Yeah.
want to call
Oh, that's good.
the company and ask that. So when I look at the long-term fix or the 20,000 versus that, they are basically on sections 1, 2, and 3, they're basically retightening all fasteners. They're replacing any fastener that's missing a grommet with new. They're sealing every fastener up there using a polyurethane sealant, and they're putting metal wedge seam caps where necessary, and then removing the debris.
Can you look into another option too for they've got newer metal roofs that have seams that go over the fasteners, so you don't have to worry about the rubber seals failing and then the roof leaking,
Say
which
that
is
again.
why they have roofing material that it overlaps over the fasteners so that there's no exposed fasteners that you have to worry about the seals going bad on. That would have
Can that be
eliminated.
used on an existing roof, or is that?
Yeah, that it would be same application as any metal roof.
Okay.
It eliminates that problem that we're having with that roof right now.
So we're saying this is.
You
all-
talking about a replacement roof?
No.
Just
No.
just the metal,
Just-
just top.
Just to
over
cover
the
up
That's
Yeah.
that's what that $20,000 price is, right, Dan?
20,000 is, so
Just
they're
the fastener?
considering that roof 3 sections. And they're saying that will replace any fasteners missing with rubber grommets with new ones. So new fasteners is basically what they're saying. And they're gonna, all the ones that are not missing.
Oh, they're just doing the
They're
fasteners.
just doing the.
Okay, I thought that.
They're not even
Oh,
doing,
no,
yeah.
you're
Okay.
looking at $100,000.
That's where it is. They're
easy
saying
for a new
seal
roof.
all
If not more.
So what's your
fasteners using
suggestion
swap.
would be on a new roof?
Okay, never mind. That's what I was under the impression that was.
So,
That's what I was just saying. Is this the first that this is, we're doing, this
Yeah.
is the original roof? we're
Yes.
doing?
Yeah.
When was the Mullins Center built?
Oh, it was the year Katie graduated, 2002.
What's the square footage of that roof?
That's not
22
bad.
years. It's gone 22 years.
I'd have to,
I mean,
it
there's
says in
been,
there.
I'm sure there's been leaks before,
I can look it up later.
I don't know.
because they, did- they had tried to seal it. they saw that they had tried to seal it.
Oh, yeah.
So you know that it's been going on for a while.
That's why, when you brought that up, I was like, that's a good price, 20,000 for the whole new roof. That's what I thought it was. I was,
No way.
I just saw that, yeah, I saw that too, that
No,
it's
that's
just, it's
the-
just the fasteners.
Go and redo
Retighten.
all the fasteners.
Oh, you'll be well over
Or
100,000.
replace missing rubber grommets.
Square foot.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's why I want to know the
On
square
here?
Doesn't have the what square footage is in there.
Because, I mean, if they just go and do that, I mean, we're going to have that same problem unless they've got better material they're using.
So
Okay.
either, it's either way, if you want to go look at it from a larger, I can find out from a bigger standpoint what it would cost on a more of that. I just, you know, when I saw the leaks, I said, how do we repair the leaks?
Yeah.
And that was the question. I mean, so that was what I sent them up there for.
Yep.
Where is it leaking? What is it?
It'd be interesting
How
to
to
know,
repair.
Yeah.
for a whole new roof, just compare,
Yeah, especially if you could
just
go
to
with,
know what it's gonna be.
And
Yeah.
get an assessment how it is as
Do a
far as
minor,
that goes.
do a minor repair now
Is
and
this-
maybe 5 years, 10 years.
And is this minor repair all that's really needed? I mean, is that the only problem, or is there an instability on someplace else in other ways?
I can tell you what ours was, and we redid it 15 years ago on our house. We put a new metal roof on it. It was $60,000 back then.
mine
Just on the
was
house.
10.
So we'll,
And that's,
I can get both
You
those.
just did a metal roof on yours, didn't you, on your
Yeah, we have a
building?
metal roof,
yeah,
What'd you pay?
22, 24. That was a tear off too.
So the questions I have right now, to be
Over
clear,
top.
you're asking about the grassy areas that ran the lights at the high school, correct?
Yes.
They were there.
Slate up.
Wall and center, I'm gonna work on a little
I
bit more
know
on
there
that
was
roof.
wiring and pipes there.
Yep. Got it.
Amish crew.
Okay. I just want to give you an idea. But I do think we need to kind of get that looked at, so that's kind of where we're at.
On your buses.
Oh, yeah, they're all the time. Yeah,
All right.
on Cars, buses.
The next page is fine, it's just the roof, you guys have already approved this, we're moving forward. Turn back to the page, you got it, that's phase 2 of the high school roof. Materials are gonna be delivered in May. I did share with Josh, the staging area is going to be, you know, kind of like out front here, where they'll put the dumpsters and do that, and, which doesn't really affect the board by any stretch, but we just kind of reviewed where the materials were and things like that. The next, and you guys approved that, so that's kind of, I don't want to keep you. The next one is, it's services for our wastewater treatment plants, not a wastewater treatment plant, the services. By law, by the EPA, we have to have paperwork in, EPA, there's services that have to be done yearly. There's cost to that, and you have to have the right certifications to do it. I'm not recommending anything here, I just want to give you an idea. Is that in there, correct? So basically, what we currently use is like an advanced water, and there's a company, and the cost is over, since 7/1 of '23, it's roughly around, you see there, about $20,000, and a little bit
Per
more for
year?
this.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, for what we've spent. We got an additional quote on one, it was where it would be per year, and I just wanted to share, I was just sharing that, from a quote standpoint. The next page is the high school windows in the gymnasium. I want to give you a quote for the gymnasium windows. If you wanted to get those windows, they're the originals that need to replace, you're looking at $260,000.
That's only one side.
Probably not a recommendation for me right now.
No.
Agreed.
Wow.
It hit after Josh and I's conversation, which will embed into this, I almost thought at some point, if you're looking at air conditioning for the gymnasium, is it even worth keeping windows in there, up top high, around those bleachers, versus just insulating them and shutting them up? You know, versus even paying for windows. We never even had that, but I was like, from a cost effective.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
I just wanted to share that quote with you. The next page is abating Lexington. Again, I'm going to get cost for Washington and Marlboro, so I don't want you to feel like I'm leaving out a building, but we had this last year, I just shared it with you. This is designed in phases. At some point, we need to, as a board, say when we're going to pull the trigger on phases. You know, you know, and Josh made a comment, I think once the board commits to a phase, you're kind of locked into going phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. I'm not saying we need to do any phases right now, but you can see there the phases are broken down as an estimate. So I want to keep that on the radar as a conversation.
Have they had any issues since, I knew they had issues when they did the roof there because they were using mechanical removal and,
We have not currently.
no, okay.
You go from there, the next one would be if you did abating, or you wanted to put a drop ceiling in, this would be a total cost of a drop ceiling if you did all the abatement, and you're looking at probably $130,000 to $145,000. So something, just I wanted to have it, you know, kind of an estimate on that.
Is that for all 4 phases, or is that?
Yes, that's for all 4 phases.
Okay.
Yes. The next page, I'm hoping these are in order, is cement work.
Cement work, huh?
So, kind of, we have some cement work at the Washington we needed done, some at the middle school, some at the high school, some at Marlboro. Not a lot of money there, you're talking about $12,000 right now. That would be something I would recommend. I think anytime we're correcting our cement, it'd be something I recommend. Talking with Josh there, he said to take a look at the sidewalks in front of the high school
Yeah.
going in, so I'm having those looked at right now. I think those would be additional things that are worth taking into consideration in on that end. Around the middle school, the curb, you know, where not the whole thing, but where it's like been crushed or it's just fallen into pieces, I think those need to be cleaned up. Those are smaller projects, but
One specifically, those are the sidewalks from the parking lot
yes,
to the
the ones you're
building
talking about, correct.
connecting. Okay.
So those are being looked into right now, but our cement work, I think, needs to be done. I know that we had some questions about the Victory Bell out there. I think if you went out there now, I could say that job is completed currently. So that's been done. That was done at, I'll fill in this coming board meeting, but that was done by donation.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That was done by donation.
Wonderful.
So. The next page is our lawn. We do lawn. We have our elementary lawns. Let me be clear so we get through this. You name off a price. I asked for quotes for the entire district. We do not need the entire district. We have our own people that take care of the high school, the middle school, the hort, you know, when it comes to mowing and lawn services, but I just was curious. I just was, you know. So the first page is mulch. We do mulch our elementaries every year, just, you know, to make sure that our kids are safe and they don't fall or break any bones or anything like that, just the general maintenance things. We had 2 different quotes there. I would probably recommend the lower side of the 2 quotes, you know, there. We're talking a difference between, you know, about $7,000 to about $11,600. So give you an idea just of where we're at, you know, on that end of it. Then from there, you're going into the mowing side of things. So if you go, no, you're fine, keep going, you're good. I'm sorry. So we're going into, that's mulch, sorry, lawn care. The next page is lawn care. So you're getting, now you got a nut, just before there should be a page there with an Excel sheet. So if you look 3 rows over, you'll see mow, and then you have a total. Now understand, that's a total for the whole district. We're not doing the whole district. That's if you add the Hort building, the high school, middle school. Take the Hort building, the high school, and the middle school out of the equation, that total drops down that drops another $40,000+ off. So if we had nobody to mow and we had to farm it out, you're looking at a difference in quotes between $72,000 to $95,000 to mow our district. Which was not the case. I mean, I'm just telling you, we had people, but I wanted to give an idea, you know, what it is. You scroll over, we do some weed and sprays. They give you an idea, then edging and mulching. So as you can see, versus the mulch quote, now we got a different companies quote a little differently, a little bit better. So I would, you know,
Yeah.
obviously move to, this company's would be my recommendation for a mowing service.
Right.
You know, that's in best interest of our district.
Why does mowing come out of permanent improvement? Capital improvement, isn't that operation?
Part of grounds, what we've always done.
Part of grounds?
Good question. So there's an idea of that. So you go from there, those are just, all those pages are pictures and with quotes of individual to take a look at for yourself. So you go to the next page, you're looking at playground equipment. Again, all the options are put there for that. You're looking at a total for playground equipment for based on the recommendations that the principals gave me that they need of $36,000 for a grand total. I would probably recommend getting that done. A lot of that safety upgrades or just replacing some equipment. That would be one I think would be good for any of those. That's what they gave me. So that would probably be one I would stamp. So you can kind of go through those. The next page or on there, it says high school handicapped closer. That's a door out there behind the Victory Bell. We need to get that replaced, that door. And you can't push the button. It doesn't work. It's just, it's not good.
We really don't have a choice on it.
No.
It's an ADA issue.
Correct. But, so the cost for that's gonna be about $3,400, $3,500. But I wanna kind of give you that idea.
Okay.
If you go to the next page, you're talking about HVAC systems. So we're air conditioned and heated in the whole district. We're air conditioned in the whole district except for 2 spots. The gym, auditorium. These are separate quotes. Okay. The gym quote, I got one. Now because I didn't know if we're gonna do anything if I get multiple quotes. According to what they need for, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, tonnage, again, is how they do it, air. You need triple what you would need for the auditorium for almost the same square footage.
That's what they have in the quote, so.
And they did bring architects out. I did check on that, you know. So you got $262,000, what they said, the air conditioning the gym, where you're talking $85,000 to air condition the auditorium. If I had to make a recommendation that worked, I would definitely move forward with the auditorium and see if we can get that done because it's community use so much. I mean, even the high school band concert the other night, it was hot. It was only 60 degrees outside.
Those units are going to replace the heating as well.
Correct.
So it'll have a new heating
Yes.
system.
Can you educate me on that triple the size?
Yeah, Josh, I think you actually said it well. I mean,
I don't know. I'd have to do a calculation on it. I mean,
Is it
I kinda-
because of the,
I kind of wondered that myself.
in general,
there's more activity?
no, in general, this is what, and I don't know, I have not got an answer yet. So the question came up when Josh and I's conversation was, you're really looking at, if you look at the 2 quotes and you read what's inside the quotes, you're basically saying for the auditorium, you're gonna need, you know, X amount of tonnage of heat and cool rooftop units where you're gonna need almost double that or more for the
I mean,
the
the
gymnasium.
gym's
And
a
it's
lot
just,
bigger in size, but
you know, but the seating capacity is about the same,
it's slightly bigger for the gym.
you know?
correct?
And
There's
it,
also windows in the gym.
Yes.
so it hit us. Is it because when they brought the engineer in, those windows are not efficient, you're getting all that
Heat loss.
heat loss or cool air loss
Yeah.
out though, so.
Well, as he said, I mean, if there's physical activity going on, that automatically raises the
Well,
temperature.
That'll be in either one,
Go
though.
back to the window quote. If you're not going to replace windows, but you probably at least glass block them.
If you did
So you're going to
something-
insulate them.
If you insulated the windows,
Yeah.
the question
Right.
is if you insulated the windows,
Yeah,
or
how
you
much
just didn't even
smaller
glass block them.
equipment you could use.
How
there.
much would you need less AC equipment, so would
Yeah.
your quote go down? Would it be an offset between the two was Josh's
That's
question.
that's why I was bringing up to Dan.
So-
Not only that, but your cost for the installation would go down, but the operating cost as well.
So,
So are these units on the roof, and how will that impact the stages that we're doing the roof?
it won't, the root, that section's
That's
gonna be
that's why I
last.
left that for
Okay.
last, so we could look into
I left that for last to take a look at this, so.
But
I-
the two will have to
I would-
coordinate.
I would not, no, the two
No,
are
they're
separate.
they're on curbs, so they can lift it up and set it
Yeah.
on there. It's
So, if I had to make a recommendation, I would not mess with the gym right now at all because A, this quote came in really high, but B, I think the windows is definitely, those two things need to be, I think, intertwined, or at least somebody needs to come in from an engineering aspect and explain to me, will it be better, more beneficial, more efficient, which I'm assuming it would be. I can't imagine it wouldn't, and what that total cost would be. I would, if the board would say yes, go ahead and investigate a little bit more for heating and air and new in the auditorium, then I would get more quotes than this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see where we're again getting the best for our dollar value. So that would be something I think would be worth looking into, in my opinion. But if you're not, that's fine. That's just where I'm at.
I say you do it, and just to throw my 2 cents in, you get the whole community going to these 2 facilities for high school sporting events, the plays. You got families whose kids from the elementary schools are involved in play. So you get all sorts of family community going to these 2 venues, and they're not comfortable at all.
No,
You're right.
Not
the
comfortable.
auditorium's a
So-
sweat box.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Especially in the spring.
Okay, so I will do that. I'll kind of run through some of my notes here when we're wrap up. The next page is it's from Alliance. It's to add city water to special services in the bus garage. So it's already there. It's actually, the quote is $6,585. It's actually $700 less. They misquoted. So take $700 off that quote. It's actually right behind where the special services is, where the cutoff is, so the added is not significantly difficult. The bus garage and the special services office is used all year round. I would make this recommendation we're already tied to it everywhere else over here, and then I would be a little bit easier for them, so. The following page this was actually pre-me, but this is, remember when I was talking about, hey, if with that 2.9 mil levy, some things down the road or to look at was, one of the things I talked about was Lexington smokestack. Just from a safety standpoint. They gave 3 different quotes here, 3 separate quotes. One was for $161,000 to basically remove it to, as Josh explained it, and it does make sense. That's to move it all the way to the basement, which really makes
Yeah.
no sense. The goal of
Unless we
taking it
needed
down
that
is
little bit of extra
safety.
space.
Inside makes no difference. The second one is to basically tuck point it and make it safe. I don't know. So the bricks look nicer and they don't leak, which we don't use it, so it doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
The third one for $41,000 was to tear it down basically to the roof, which is what I'm basically implying. It needs to be done.
That sounds like a good
That's pretty cheap insurance, I think,
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what I want to do, and I'm not saying this again. This is not like I guess if you want to say a tier 1 priority, a tier 2, or tier 3, I'd probably say it's a tier 2. Something I'd like to get done, but it's not a emergency. Currently at this thing, but I'd like to reach out to.
Not till it gets hit by lightning.
I'd like to reach out to this company and a couple others and see if we're still in the same ballpark of $40-some thousand to get that completely down. And if we are, that might be a consideration for the board. Finally, you have a couple. It's in there with a map of safety signs, but you guys have this, except Josh, you already got yours. Curtis Bungard is, if you remember Walter Bungard, he was our our valedictorian, or I think we changed it last year. Was it last year or 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago? They got kids. His dad is an engineer. He sent you all and myself basically an email, which this is just the email for the most part, of what he would consider out here around the high school, some signage that we think needs to be done. And then, as you know, the elementaries and that have the blinking solar lights that kind of tell you when school's going on and that. He kind of thought it would be good to have that 3 spots. So one over here one on each side of Beeson, and one I think up here at Mullen. Or not, yeah, Mullen. Up as you're coming down from State Street, He actually did the legwork there, and if you go to one of the pages, he kind of there's some links for grants So the signage, we're gonna look into seeing what the cost is and just kind of get those, see if we can get some of those ordered. I think everything he did is correct. It's actually things we've talked about on our safety thing. I think Carl did a good job. What Carl did was did all our legwork for us when it comes to types of signs, size of signs, things that were appropriate. On top of that, he actually sent links for some of the possible safety grants to get the blinking signs out there so there wouldn't be a cost to our district. So before I make a recommendation to say that, our grant team's gonna look at seeing if we can get on these links and get the grants. But we are gonna order that. So
Excellent.
I'm gonna reach out to him. I mean, I'm gonna let him know we talked about it at the work session. I reached out that I appreciate him doing the legwork on this and helping out. So that was really nice that we had a community member kind of do that.
Yeah,
He had that.
excellent.
So that is, in a nutshell, in an hour, kind of Josh and I's conversation. I think outside of again, this doesn't equate to some of the smaller things that we do. I shared with Josh, we started it when I came on board. We have a separate Excel sheet in private notes of just things that are our maintenance. No one questions what our maintenance does on a day. You know, there's things that they do throughout the year, like replacing water heaters and urinals and toilets and broken faucets and things like that all cost money. You know, but when they're happen and when the job's completed, so we kind of track some of that too. There was a couple other things that were brought up too, like some valves and some of the water things, and those are all being looked into, you know, from that aspect that Josh and I talked about. So I guess, do you guys have anything that you're like really saying, hey, I really want to move forward with making a recommendation, you know, because we're coming up here into March. I know the roof's already done, but paving's one that I want to we kind of got to get them on the docket.
Yeah,
who's that?
without paving,
What?
Who do you have to get on the docket?
Paving. Getting them kind of saying, hey, we're going to move forward. Lawn care, I kind of have a good idea. I'm going to go with the lower of the quotes. You guys are okay unless you want. Lighting, I can look more into. So I'm just curious where you guys, you know, but paving in general, is there something specific you say, yes, I mean, we're all in, or is it, you good on my recommendations? I'm curious.
So are you looking at getting a vote on most of this at the next meeting next week, or just mostly the paving and then
So paving,
soon after?
some of the
other things?
approvals I'd like to get done next week.
Okay.
Not all of them, because I've got to get quotes, more quotes. So from a paving standpoint, I'd like to get that at least approved. That would be, you know, from a board meeting aspect, you know,
yeah, based on what you were saying tonight, the Marlboro playground, soccer parking lot, Marlboro side lot, Washington staff lot, lighting, cement work, playground equipment, and high school auditorium, that total comes up to $478,090.
I was not including the playgrounds.
Okay, so without the playground, we're,
I was looking at Marlboro side lot at $32,000 as a recommendation.
yeah,
Paving for the soccer lot, at best, $114,000. We may go the other, I don't know which option you guys are leaning at, unless you want to give me a little more
that was
details
at
on
the
that.
that was, mine included the 114,000.
I was looking at Washington side lot at $21,899.
Yep. Marlboro side lot.
I got that at 32. The speed bumps at $5,127. I was not including the grassing areas at the middle school. My debate now is, do you want to look at any phases of the high school, or do you want to look at the playground paving?
So where are we at with just those total?
If we went on the high end of the soccer lot, Josh,
With what you just said.
so it's 114 plus 32 plus 22 plus 5, 173,000. That's not touching,
Paving or?
that's paving, not touching the playgrounds or the high school parking lot at all. That's where I'm at. If you're just looking at the soccer lot, Washington side lot, Marlboro side lot, and speed bumps.
And this is paving only.
Paving only.
Have we done the pickup and drop off? Are those both new at Lexington and Washington?
Washington's is fine.
Lexington's is brand new.
Lexington's is brand
Lexington's
new.
new.
Marlboro would come into play probably next year. I think we can go one more year.
I added up, not just the paving, but I put the soccer parking lot at the lower price.
Okay. So
The
even
Marlboro side lot, Washington side lot, the playgrounds at, did I have those two? Marlboro and Lexington, the speed bumps, district-wide, what was it? The sidewalks, cement. Playground equipment, handicap door, and the hooking up city water, and I came up with $1.4 million for all totaling all of those.
With the,
Rough estimate, $1.4 million, 7,900.
Did you,
Anything I had a star by, Dan.
was high school area A, B, or C in that at all?
I don't, if it doesn't have a star by it, no.
No.
what about the playground and lawn care? Did you say you had that in there too?
Yep.
Yeah, playground.
So really, the paving debate really boils down to, do you want to hit the paving at Marlboro and Lexington?
Side lots,
No, the
Or the
paving, the
playground.
playgrounds.
playgrounds.
Or do you want to attack a section of the high school parking lot?
I didn't take that.
What needs it more?
Yeah, what
The
you-
Marlboro, I don't remember Marlboro being that bad.
It does, I mean, that back section,
Is that, you were talking about catch
Oh, yeah.
basins and drains and that stuff on those playgrounds. I would do the playgrounds
Drainage
first.
issue caused by the,
so, because I mean, like I said, even at the high end, even if we went to the other end, 173, take 40 off, you're at 130, I mean, we got room there for paving, but obviously, let's just say we go at, is lighting on your list?
No, that wasn't on there. Oh, yes, it is. I'm sorry, yes, it is.
All right, so let's just say lighting's at $105,000. That's beating it, that's in there. We're not touching the gym, Mullen Center roof at a bare minimum, even if we just fix the leaks, is anywhere between 3 and 20 at just fixing the leaks. It could be more or less, depending on what you guys want to do. So I always put the high end,
Yeah.
just so we don't,
I think the Mullins one is important.
We don't want damage to
We don't want to be on floor. and
Oh,
then
that's
a lot
expensive
easier.
floor.
the floor is expensive.
Here,
We can't do everything.
everywhere I have a star, that's what I added up, rounded it, and I come up with a little more than $1 million.
playground equipment was
That was on.
36,000. Handicap door was 4,000 on the high end. Cement work was 12, but we added the sidewalks, things like that, so I would just say, I would just round it up to maybe 25, maybe even 30, just to be safe, because there's other cement work that needs to be done. I mean, I know it's not in there, and those are small projects, so it isn't, those are things that I wouldn't say, we're gonna get 30,000, those would just come to you as, as board approval for a $5,000 project here or whatever. But I'm just looking at a total cost. I mean,
I didn't include the auditorium or the gym, because you said you wanted to get more quotes anyway.
but I'm just basically saying if the quotes all come in nearly the same,
If you add the auditorium in, you're gonna be closer to $1.5 million. I was just marking stars wherever you said this is something I would recommend.
well, you put gym windows in there, I would not.
No, I was writing stuff down.
Oh,
I have,
okay.
wherever I have a star is where
Oh,
you
a
said, these
star.
are
There we
things
go.
that I
get you.
would,
I
I
apologize.
think need to be done. So I took anything where there was a star and added it up,
That's good.
except for the auditorium. I didn't do anything with that. So if you add the auditorium in, you're looking at closer to $1.5 million.
think we're less than that because the lawn care is going to be significantly less than what that sheet says.
Okay.
You know, I do.
That's still the
It's-
general ballpark of
Yeah,
where we
and
are
I
if
gotta
we
get
want to
some
do all
quotes.
those things.
I just kind of, I needed to nail down tonight, at least a decent idea of where we're at with paving. If you're good with moving forward with lighting, then I want to get some additional quotes.
Yeah, I think we need to. Lighting's important.
Lighting and paving are important.
If you're committed to taking a good look at the AC at the auditorium, then I'd like to get
I
us some
would be.
additional.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Yeah.
so would you like us to like put in order what, we think?
Yeah.
Like a list of
I'd be curious, but I mean,
totals?
I'm okay getting that done. I just kind of getting a consensus where you guys are at. So you're saying to me the consensus is getting some more quotes for the auditorium AC.
Yes.
Is anybody in
Yes.
disagreement with that?
No.
Lighting, getting some more quotes because we'd like to do some lighting in that general area. Is that a yes? Okay.
Yes.
That's where I'm at. You guys are good if I make a recommendation next meeting for lawn care and the lower quotes?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, that's, and you can vote how you want, but I'm just saying, okay, lawn care is a yes. The cement work, are we good with moving forward with what's there and looking at what Josh's suggestion, look at the sidewalks out front?
Yeah.
All right, so cement, yes, plus sidewalks.
Playground equipment.
Playground equipment, are we against, is that okay, it's a 36,000
I think so.
total?
Explain that again. You said something about just maintaining the equipment, or this is?
No,
new?
some of this is new, they're just broken.
Taking
new
it out,
things, taking them
replacing
out,
them.
putting them in.
The old
fixing it,
hamburger
just
at
stuff like
Washington.
that. So I basically asked them to say, hey, can you get some quotes on what it would be for these things? There might be some new things, but at the end of the day, playground equipment is expensive.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you can't have broken.
Are you, would that include keeping that one that's off the kindergarten rooms?
Yeah, we're not taking anything
Okay.
away. This is just what they asked for.
Oh, you want to pave over that?
No, I was just
For the
asking.
playground?
Let's just pave over the playground.
No.
Handicap door, are we okay?
There'll be less,
We
there'll be
have
less
to.
mowing costs.
Just plow it away. It shuts down on mowing costs. But it increases paving costs.
So handicap door's good.
Salty.
Are we okay with adding city's water, running
Yeah.
that line over
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Do we have to abandon that well? Is that price in that?
What was the question?
If we're not using the well, do we have to abandon it and seal it?
We could cap it, we don't have to abandon it. Our other wells.
The county let
our
you do
other
that?
wells- Our other well's is capped right now. I mean, I can get you an exact answer, but I'm pretty sure our other well is capped right now.
Okay.
But I can get that answer.
I didn't know you were allowed to do that.
It's 6:45.
It's stagnation.
Okay.
Issues with
You're not
that getting,
gonna use it.
what?
You're not gonna use it.
Yeah, typically the county wants you to plug
Okay.
it and seal it so
I can
that
get
there's
that.
no risk of,
Okay.
contamination, especially when you're not
Uh,
using it. It's just a
Thank you, Dan.
risk
Hold on. Paving,
contaminating groundwater.
Paving, okay.
back to paving.
Pave it all.
All the ground, cover the ground.
Get a quote for that?
I'm in favor of the things I put stars by.
From the soccer lot perspective,
Yes.
is a recommendation on you to go with the 5-inch base or 3-inch base, or do you want an answer before you do each one? Is there something that I didn't answer when it comes to the base amount?
Well, can you find out what that additional thing would be?
Like
when
the
they-
cost of,
Cost
like
in 3 years
the
if-
top coat over?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they could give me that. They could tell you what it would cost over to top coat now, which is probably the additional,
Yeah, the difference.
44,000.
yes.
Yeah, just add for inflation.
If you needed it.
I'd say
What's
But-
inflation, 9%?
the 3-inch. I don't see why we.
That's $45,000 difference, right?
Yes.
So that gives us options.
I just don't want to draw a contract up for that lot.
But didn't you said they said most of the schools, or a lot of the schools, as they're trying to save money, go with the
3-inch.
3-inch?
Yes.
I would say
I'm
do
okay with
that.
that 3-inch. I think we'd be okay with that.
If it's a cost saving and,
Wheels everybody else on
Insufficient,
this.
yeah.
Okay.
It's mostly cars.
Well, I think there's
The
other
occasion-
higher priorities too
Once-
than to have
once
that
or
extra
twice-
2
once you go
inches.
through there.
Are we okay with Marlboro's side lot and Washington's front side lot?
Yes.
it's
The one
everything
with
they
the
said.
gravel and the one on the side lot by the
What copy?
by the dirt that's there. Is there anybody that's against, not recommending on that? which is okay. I'm just asking if there's, feeling one way or another.
I'd really like to see that chimney taken down at Lexington.
I can look into that. From a paving standpoint, at the end now, you're really talking about it. We're back to the general question here. Obviously, the speed bumps are okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Fine.
Dan, it's quarter.
We just put speed limit
That's what,
signs.
yeah.
So really where we're at right now is, do we want to look at a phase of the high school lot? Or do you want to look at the playground, the 2 playground lots?
Jonathan wants to take the speed bumps out when we vote on everything and vote on it separately.
No, I'm,
Personally, I think it should be around the high school, like all around the high school.
I don't have an
Ditto.
opinion
That's
one
fine.
way or
Yeah,
another.
I think if we do one of the high school lots, the one around it, A is probably the best.
Is the best option. I mean, it gets so much traffic, so much traffic.
I don't think the rest of the parking lot's in that bad a condition
No,
even.
that would be A.
Yeah, that would be part,
I
yeah,
would
that's
go
what he's
with,
talking about.
I would support A. If you're doing all around the high school
Cool.
lot.
I think so.
All right.
All right?
Lighting, I'm gonna look into. You told me I'm good. Playground, I'm looking at, we're good. Auditorium, look into. Lighting, look into. Handicap, yes. City water, yes. Check on the capping the well. Lawn care, yes. Cement work, yes. We're sure looking at the soccer lot, Marlboro side lot, Washington side lot, speed bumps, and section A of the high school lot for sure. If we can do more, we will. Is there anything else I missed in here?
Can
Find
we,
out about the wiring on those little
Yes.
items.
can we look at just breaking it down for this year and then, putting stuff in order for next year just to have a running tally to see where we're gonna be at then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Save us some work then too.
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
That's really all I got. Josh, you got anything to add from when we met that we missed or didn't talk about?
Or just those gas meters?
Yes,
That'd be
Josh
nice.
brought up, obviously, we have gas that we used a substantial amount of gas before we shut off our boilers, specifically at the 3 elementaries and went to the mini splits. Anything about gas, you have to have a certain type of meter that goes into your house for the amount of gas gets in it. So if you use gas or not, you're going to get charged a fee. Okay, just a surcharge, no matter what. Because we use probably much a smaller amount of gas now, do we still have the original like outside gas meters? So we're getting charged maybe more than we should be because we're not even using that amount of gas. So we checked the bills at Marlboro in particular. Theirs was like a household, like I
Yeah.
don't know, $50 or something.
Yeah, I've got them right here.
Okay.
When PlugSmart did the project, I specifically asked them if they could coordinate with the gas company to downsize the meter there because we don't need the
What
extra
was the
capacity.
cost?
Well, for example, the basic service charge, which is, I believe, is determined off your gas meter size. At Marlboro, it's $56.16. Now that's, regardless of
Right.
what your consumption is, it's just being connected. And that's a Dominion Energy bill there.
And what was what?
In Lexington, which is also Dominion Energy, the service charge for just the connection with the gas meter there is $213.07.
It's still $150, but that's something we probably shouldn't be paying. So
Yeah.
I spoke
every month.
to,
Adds
we
up.
reached out to them today, and that lady's getting back, but they're actually looking at that now at the same time. So hopefully I can by next week, I can give a
Washington's,
clear answer on
Oh.
those two.
yeah, Washington's is Columbia Gas, but we're paying almost $140 a month just for the connection.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into those 3.
Okay.
But, yeah, like I was telling Dan, at Lexington, we're using 22.4 cubic feet, and our bill's 270. At Marlboro, we used 73.2, which is more than 3 times as much, and the bill for Marlboro is 176. It's almost $100 cheaper, and we use more than 3 times the gas there. And it's basically just because we have a big old meter out front there that we're
Correct.
never going to need the capacity
That's
for.
ridiculous.
Okay.
It's very similar to your house. No matter what, even if you don't use any gas, you're going to be charged like a $35 fee or, in your house just
I
for
think
having
mine's like
that out.
20.
Yeah, so that was it. Anything else that we?
Yep. Well, the gas company should be able to determine the capacity needed because we've had those
Correct.
systems in long enough that they can look at our history over the winter,
We
which is
called.
when the demand is.
We called this afternoon, so they're going to get back to us.
Now, did you call both Dominion and Columbia? Okay, good.
Anything else that we covered?
I can't think of anything.
Any other questions for me or Bob? Good. Okay, I hope that
Good.
helped you out. That's all I got.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Call the roll, please, when you're ready.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Last.
I'm sorry?
It's kinda
If you want it.